All right, Tom Murphy now joins us here, Whole Hog Sports, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Tom, we'll ask you a Christmas question coming up, but I was thinking about like the guys coming back and kind of in the last 10 or so minutes, you've gotten a couple offensive line commits. Sounds like Andrew Armstrong. There might be a possibility of him coming to Fayetteville. What do you think about Arkansas and just kind of what they've lost thus far and how you balance it with what they've gained early on in this transfer portal cycle?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. It's a complicated deal, and, the coaches, they wanted to do for every transfer portal exit guy you had, they wanted to replace that spot. That's going to be a pretty hefty assignment. I would say right now the amount of exiting players, obviously, are a little bit more, but you are bringing in some great talent. I mean, you brought in a super massive offensive lineman. You brought in receivers. I mean, so you're seeing how the collection is, coming back together. And is this the wave of the future? Or are we just going to have to get used to this? Maybe so. But they've still got more to go, obviously, because, the numbers aren't matching up exactly yet.
And I wonder with this roster, and I know Taylor Green's back, that'd probably be the easiest for Turney to say is the most important. But, Tom, of the other guys that they got, we heard from Cam Ball yesterday. I've got a chance to hear from Xavier Sawyer and some others. Who do you think is the most important guy that they landed back outside of the starting quarterback?
Well, that's a great question. And, just for starters, had Taylor Green opted to leave, can you imagine how devastated the Arkansas fan base would be that, Petrino went out and Bobby Petrino went out and handpicked this guy, and then after 1 year, he's gone. So that was a huge one. But I think both the linebackers that we talked to yesterday, Xavier Sawyer and Steven Dix, are huge retentions for them. I mean, Fernando Carmona, left tackle, that's a really big deal. And in the modern game, you don't know who has to announce that they're coming back or whatever. But, Amarian Harris, who's been starting at right tackle, assuming they will keep him, he's not in the portal, so that's a good keep. And then there's a lot more. But between the guys who were declaring for the draft and the starters who were in the portal, and then guys who are exhausting their eligibility, Arkansas's got a huge roster overhaul that they are in the midst of right now.
Yeah, and I guess to some degree, Tom, we're going to get a glimpse of the future. You're going to see some guys that, have redshirted this year. I'm really looking forward to watching as much as you can watch a guard play. Branham on that offensive line. We saw bits and pieces this year as they kept him under 4 games. But, there's one example of some guys that I think are going to be starters for seasons to come that we'll get to see in this bowl game.
Absolutely. So that's one of the promising things for the bowl game. So Brooks Edmondson, if he, is a starting center, he will get his audition for here's how well I can snap. Here's how well I can mesh with Taylor Green. Here's how well I can block. So it's an audition for him. And then Kobe Branham, who we heard from Cam Ball yesterday talking about what a bright future he's got, a super strong kid and all that. And but he's not starting for a reason. The Josh Braun and Patrick Kudus and Keyshawn Blackstock all were either more familiar with the offense, more physical, or something. So this is a step for Kobe Branham. Could he be a starter next year? Yeah, he sure could. And if he shows it in this bowl game, that sets him on his way. But you could go across the depth chart, across the roster. Like, we know that Sorey and Steven Dix and Anthony Switzer are the top linebackers. But think what Bradley Shaw has done. He had the tackle on the huge it was a fake punt early in the season, and now I'm forgetting maybe what game it was, but he tackled a punter on a fake punt run that was huge. It might have been Texas A&M, but and he had some other plays late.
Fourth down stop against State. He had that goal line stand, I think, Tom, too.
Yeah, he was in on that, too. He absolutely was. Switzer had a huge game against Mississippi State, too, with the forced fumble right on the goal line. But yeah, there's younger guys. There'll be young guys in the secondary who need to. I mean, maybe you play Selman Bridges a good amount in this game. So there's positions across the board where younger guys are going to get more opportunity. Wide receiver. I mean, C.J. Brown. He might even start the game. and then Jordan Anthony, a young receiver, and Cross Johnson's doing some stuff in the practices and in bowl prep. So there's guys all over.
Talking with Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Whole Hog Sports this hour, presented by our friends at Mach 1 Financial. Tom, we were kind of kicking around this idea. If you were Sam Pittman in this staff and you could somehow make it happen, would you keep your entire roster heading into next season, or flip a coin and take a chance, which was what they're having to do based on some departures and some guys that are coming in right now?
You mean, would you have rather have kept Luke Haas and Braxton?
Entire
and
roster. Yeah, you would have had Sam Pittman could snap his fingers. The whole roster would be back for next season, or you flip a coin, take a chance, and you possibly get better heading into next year.
Well, since I had not pondered that before, it's a great poser, I must say. Obviously, there are some guys that you would want to keep, but if you're talking about the entire roster, wow. I don't know, because so you're going to lose the guys who are declaring for the draft and the guys who are running out of eligibility, and then you're going to replace that with a more select group of transfer portal guys, and then the freshmen that you knew you were going to land anyway. So I don't know. I suppose if you had it to pick one way or the other, you'd like to come back with the roster that you had, and then there's guys that you knew you were going to have to replace, the Hudson Clarks, the Jaquindon Jacksons, and so on, Andrew Armstrongs, and then build that through a few select portal, acquisitions, and then the entire freshman class that you just signed, which is a big class, and I know it wasn't ranked really high, but it met some needs, quarterback, and D-line. They got some in tight end. There's some need spots that they hit with that class too. So I don't know. Next year's roster is going to be, maybe it's going to be a little bit like this year's roster, where there's going to be a lot of breaking in and getting to know guys.
Tom, what's the sense you get from fan attendance next week, from your readers, from message boards, people you've talked to? It's close in proximity. I know they're doing some stuff at Liberty Bowl. We're going to be there. Can't wait for that. But what is the sense about Arkansas fans traveling for next week?
Well, I have to say, I don't have a great sense. I've been plugged in on some other things, all the Bob stuff, to get a read maybe for, going beyond the hardcore, the parents and the hardcore fans who are, let's say, in eastern Arkansas, the Memphis area, who will go, what will they draw from, Texarkana and Little Rock and South Arkansas, Fort Smith and all? I don't know. But the Liberty Bowl is limited to, is it 42 or maybe 46,000?
I think it's 42.
42 for this game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they got 16 to 18,000 from each fan base, they'd be satisfied. Can Arkansas put 15, 16,000 fans? I'm not sure. In terms of momentum and enthusiasm, I mean, so many guys are gone from the roster, so that you got that component. But then also, there's fun things to do in Memphis, and also you could turn it into your Christmas time deal. So I hesitate to make a prediction. What's y'all's read on what the fan enthusiasm is for this?
I'll ask you, Tommy. I'm going to be honest. I haven't talked to any friends that are going. The New York trip almost took, don't you think, Tommy, a lot of people, if they were deciding between a bowl, I feel like a lot of people chose New York over that.
I think, people are probably spending their traveling. I think we get disconnected from the fan on the eastern side of the state that maybe got to go to one game, or maybe only went to Little Rock, and here's their chance to. They may not stay the night at the Peabody, but they can take a Friday off of work, even in some cases a half a day off of work because it's the 6 o'clock start, and go see that game. So, Tom, you make a great point with the limited capacity because of the remodeling. And I was just looking it up while you were making that comment. I don't know how many fans from Lubbock, Texas are going to find their way there, but I was looking.
They're one-way flights, Tommy? Lubbock.
I don't know about that, but I can tell you right now, I thought you'd just go straight down 40. It says here you go through Dallas if you were driving from Lubbock to Memphis, and it's depending on what you're at, you go 750 to 800 miles. It's a 12-hour drive.
Cow.
I don't know how many fans are going to do that 2 days after Christmas. But I think Arkansas will dominate the fan scene, Tom, in Memphis.
You make a point there because of the proximity. So, yeah, Eastern Arkansas folks might show up, and you make the great point about just being able to take off the Friday or half the Friday, and then it funnels right into your weekend. So that does bode well for the bowl and for potential attendance.
Tom, let's let you go with this. Basketball back in action, Bud Walton. You got 2 games coming up. We'll talk more and recap Monday's game with you on Tuesday. Actually, no, we're not doing a show Tuesday. But I will ask you this. What do you think about this game heading into this weekend and just before they get ready for conference play against Tennessee?
Well, I kind of told you guys that I thought I would like to have seen them just, take control from the start of a game, and they did that against UCA. And I think this is another team in North Carolina A&T that you could do the same. They're struggling at 3-8. Not a particularly great shooting team. Bad that their rebound margin is one of the worst in the country. I think it's ranks about 331 in the country. So Arkansas should crush them on the boards. So just get out there and just get out there and not play down to the opponent. Get out there like you did against UCA and just play good ball from the start. As we talked on Tuesday, they seem to be building some steam, adjusting to their roles better, and guys getting more comfortable. And once they get Big Z back, truly in the fold, then they're approaching full capacity. So I expect it to be maybe a little better attended game than the other Saturday against UTSA, but that remains to be seen.
Tom, we'll leave it there, man. Appreciate it, and we'll talk, before the bowl game next Thursday.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Tom. Have a great Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys, too. Thanks a lot. See you.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here.